From prehistoric creatures to modern ones, we've got some of the most serious deep-sea predators of all time to talk about today and more. Let's dive into part 2 of the top 10 deep-sea creatures that are scarier than the Megalodon. Starting off in our number 10 spot, we have the Plesiosaurus. These guys are a prehistoric creature that was massive and grew to be about 43 feet long. They had these super long necks that basically took up like half of their body, and even though they were so massive, they had no trouble moving efficiently through the water. These creatures had 4 flippers, so our best guess as to how they swam would be sort of like a penguin, with their front limbs doing most of the work while the back ones kind of take hold of the steering part. Fossils have been able to show us that these creatures gave birth to live young and are actually kind of similar to dolphins in the way they take care of their young. It is thought that these just may be the creatures that inspired the tales of the Loch Ness Monster. In our number 9 spot today, we have the Atlantic wolffish. When you see a picture of these guys, it becomes clear where exactly their name comes from. These bottom-dwelling fish are armed with somewhere from 4 to 6 fang-like teeth on their jaws, and behind that there are 3 more menacing rows of teeth. While that is already enough to at least kind of freak a person out, that is not where the teeth end. No, of course not. It is said that these guys also have scattered in their throat some serrated teeth as well. Yeah, definitely kind of nightmare-inducing if you ask me. These guys also have a long eel-like body that can reach lengths of over 1.5 meters, so they aren't exactly small either. I think it's safe to say that I'm just glad that they are a fish that prefer the depths of the ocean and not more shallow waters. In our number 8 spot today, we have the vampire squid. These guys get their name because, well, in some ways, they kind of look like vampires. I mean, they have this fantastic red color, they have glowing eyes, and they have a webbing between their arms, which sometimes appears like a sort of cloak. I mean, that is basically the definition of what a vampire looks like, right? The squid part of their name, though, is where things get a little bit more mixed up because they aren't squids and they aren't octopuses either, but they do share qualities with both of them. They don't actually belong to either of those families, and they're instead in a category of their own entirely. In the past, there were more members in this same family, but the vampire squid is now the last remaining member, which is why they are often referred to as a living fossil. In our number 7 spot today, we have the Stareater. These guys are also sometimes referred to as snaggletooth, and that might just be due to their sharp, needle-like teeth. These guys were recently found in the waters between Australia and New Zealand, and to be honest, they're pretty unpleasant to look at. Like, they just look aggressive, you know what I mean? These guys, like many other deep-sea predators, have a red chin barbel that is used as a sort of lure to attract other prey. Once the prey has been sufficiently bamboozled, they then use these needle-like teeth I mentioned to capture them. They might not be the largest or scariest creature on this list, but they definitely should not be underestimated. In our number 6 spot today, we have the Barreleye. These guys are also known as spookfish, and they have these large, protruding, telescopic eyes that are enclosed in a transparent dome of soft tissue. That was a long way of saying they have a see-through head, and it is so weird to look at. These guys can't be taken out of their deep-sea environment because they are unable to withstand the change in pressure, so for a while after their initial discovery, the only way people who had seen them in the deep sea could show anyone else what they looked like was through drawing. Imagine trying to tell someone that you found a fish with a see-through head, but you have no evidence to prove it. These guys are usually found motionless, just kind of floating in one spot, as they don't tend to move around a bunch at a depth of around 600 to 800 meters in the ocean. Honestly, they aren't crazy predators like others on this list. They simply just appear ghostly almost. It's both really cool and really unsettling. In our number 5 spot today, we have the monkfish. These guys aren't always a deep sea fish, but there are various species who like to make their homes quite deep at around 1,000 meters below the surface of the sea. These guys are characterized by their broad, flat mouths that are armed full of teeth. These teeth are long and pointed and just generally terrifying. These creatures also have enormous stomachs that give them enough room to be able to swallow their entire prey whole, should they need to. They also have a sort of bulb of flesh that is attached to their heads, which is meant to lure in smaller fish who look at it as bait. In our number 4 spot today, we have the Basilosaurus. These guys have a name that translates to king lizard, and they are a genus of large, predatory, prehistoric whales that lived during the Eocene, which is approximately 41.3 to 33.9 million years ago. These guys were actually first described in 1834, which makes them the first prehistoric whale known to science. These guys were one of the largest, if not the largest of their time, and they were the top predators of their environment. They preyed on sharks, large fish, other marine animals, including the dolphin-like Dorudon. They were really able to eat basically anything they felt like. These guys even had teeth that were various types, like canines and molars, which probably allowed these creatures to chew their food, which is different from their more modern ancestors. In our number 3 spot today, we have the black swallower fish. These guys are a species of deep sea fish that are best known for their ability to swallow fish larger than themselves whole. These guys are actually quite common and widespread and tend to prefer depths of around 700 to 2,500 meters. They aren't very large fish, but they are long and compressed and don't have scales. Their lower jaw protrudes past their upper, and both jaws are lined with a row of sharp teeth, with the first 3 in each jaw being enlarged to canines. The way their jaw is shaped allows the jaw to swing down further, which is what allows them the room to swallow objects larger than their own head. From there, their stomach is distendable enough that it can hold prey over twice the length of the predator and 10 times its own mass. All I'm saying is that these guys are ambitious. In our number 2 spot today, we have the anglerfish. This bony fish is known for its luminescent horn that is used to lure other fish as prey. There are different kinds of anglerfish, but those who live in the deep sea are referred to as sea devils, which truly does feel fitting. The females are much larger than the males and can reach up to almost 4 feet, while the males can reach up to 5.5 inches. The anglerfish is able to eat prey that is the same size as itself. So, just like the last fish, they clearly have quite the appetite. Luckily, most anglerfish remain so deep in the ocean that they are not a threat to humans, and even if they did live not quite so deep in the ocean, most humans would just be too big for them to even try to attack. That sure doesn't mean they aren't crazy to look at, though. In our number 1 spot today, we have the Pliosaurus, another massive prehistoric creature. These guys grew to be around 40 feet long and about the size of some whales we would see today. These creatures are best known for their insane hunting abilities. They can move quickly and were quite strong. This effective predator skill set, coupled with their massive size, allowed them the ability to take down much larger prey, sometimes even dinosaurs. According to experts, these guys had exceptionally strong jaws. Some even believe that it might have had a bite just as powerful as a T-Rex, which is of course known for having one of the most powerful bites of any land animal ever. I'm just saying, these guys were definitely a top predator in their day. Alright guys, that has been our list for today. Thanks so much for checking it out. I've been your host today, Olivia Kozlowski, and I'll see you next time. Bye!